that while you're talking.
Okay.
I'm happy to help manage things. And then I think, are we on the air? Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. We are starting our Committee of the Whole meeting, or prior to our Committee of the Whole meeting, with a short presentation. We have an opportunity today to recognize one of our departments and wanted to take an opportunity to do that. My name is Elizabeth Glidden, and I am the chair of our Committee of the Whole. So to give some background, on July 16th, our city clerk, Casey Carl, and Roger Williams of the Document Solutions Center in the city of Minneapolis came before this committee for authorization to complete the chain of custody certification process through the Forest Stewardship Council. And following the successful completion of what is a very rigorous audit to ensure the Document Solution Center's procedures were in full compliance with the stringent Forest Stewardship Council rules and regulations, they've now gained certified status and are an official FSC certified printer able to offer Forest Stewardship Council certified products to all customers. And we believe that Minneapolis is the first city in the United States to have its internal print center attain this certification, which serves as an indicator of the city's ongoing commitment to sustainability practices. And so joining us this morning is someone that actually many of us are familiar with from his prior job, is Corey Brinkma, who is the president of the Forest Stewardship Council. Prior to joining FSC in 2007, Corey was the executive director of the Green Institute. Upon taking leadership of FSC's United States National Office, he moved the headquarters here to Minneapolis. So thank you very much for that. And I am going to turn the mic right now over to Corey to say some introductory comments. I'll help hold things, and then we'll hear from Roger.
Thank you, Madam Vice President, and thank you, Roger, and fellow council members here today. I serve, my name is Corey Brinkema, as you mentioned. I serve as the president of the U.S. Office of the Forest Stewardship Council. I am very honored to be here today to bestow this chain of custody certificate to the Document Solutions Center, and yes, you are right, that the city of Minneapolis is the first major U.S. city to have achieved this distinction. I think this is an achievement in a long list of achievements and leadership by the city of Minneapolis. And I know many of you in this room, city council members included, have had a big role in making Minneapolis one of the most sustainable cities in the United States. So, I think this is maybe something we might have expected, that you would have moved in this direction. So we're very, very proud of you. And for those of you who don't know the Forest Stewardship Council, we are coming up on our 20th anniversary of our founding. We grew out of the Earth Summit in Rio in 1992 when governments came together to try to look at how we could stop deforestation and degradation of our forest resources. And when governments came together, couldn't arrive at solutions, it was really the private sector, major environmental organizations like Greenpeace and the World Wildlife Fund, large companies and social activists, particularly indigenous rights groups, labor, community rights groups, came together and said, we need to figure out a non-governmental solution. And so developed what is today a voluntary market-based solution to rewarding good forest management. And so this is all achieved through these diverse groups coming together, Greenpeace sitting down with Kimberly-Clark International Paper and negotiating a consensus-based standard for responsible forest management. And today what Minneapolis and the Document Solutions Center has achieved is what's called chain of custody certification. And that's really a guarantee that the product coming from certified forests is being, the integrity of the chain of custody is being maintained. So when the city of Minneapolis makes a claim that this is printed on FSC certified paper, you can believe that. And they've proven that they can make those claims accurately. So we are very, very proud to bestow this chain of custody certificate. So thank you.
I think we're going to have some comments then from Roger, and I'll continue holding his certificate and then be happy to present it to him.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the City Council, Casey Carl, Anessa Hollenstead from the City Clerk's Office for their support in helping the Document Solutions Center obtain this FSC certification. Attaining this certification demonstrates that the Document Solutions Center utilizes materials which comply with the highest social and environmental standards on the market today and provides public recognition of our responsible practices. I am proud to be able to offer all our city departments products that are FSC certified and help support the city's commitment to sustainability and the well-being of people and our environment. Departments utilizing the Document Solutions Center can be assured that their print jobs comply with the city's environmental purchasing policy and can even choose to incorporate the FSC certification mark on production jobs as a public indication that the materials comply with these internationally recognized standards. Thank you.
Let's thank I will now call to order our official regularly scheduled meeting of the Committee of the Whole. My name again is Elizabeth Glidden, and I am the chair of this committee. I am joined today by council members Gordon, Cano, Reich, Bender, Andrew Johnson, Yang, Quincy, Warsami, Goodman, Fry, and Palmisano, and we are a quorum of the committee. We just had the presentation, and I'm not sure if we need to receive and file anything from that. Looks like we do not. We have one other consent item on our agenda, and this is to set a public hearing for September 17th, 2014 regarding the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority Benefit Plan Ordinance Amendment. And I do not have my... Anyway, raise your hand if you have a question here. I'm going to move approval of that item. Not seeing any discussion. All in approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that item has been set for a public hearing September 17th. We now turn to reports of committees, and we have our Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee. With that, Chair, Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. There are 14 items on our agenda for approval tomorrow. Item number 1 is the 2013 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. We refer to that as the CAPER report. This goes to HUD to explain how we used HUD's money over 2013. Item 2 is a land sale. Item number 3 is the cocktail room licensing ordinance. This will allow micro distilleries to sell spirits that they produce on their premises. Item number 4 are the liquor, gambling, and business licenses. Item 5 is an operating condition for a mobile food vendor. Item 6 is a resubordination of our Affordable Housing Trust Fund loan for the Marshall River Run project. Item 7 is a fairly significant $56 million refinancing of the Children's Healthcare Children's Hospitals bond issuance. Item Item 8 are some changes to the compensation proposed for Gimmick for their mortgage assistance and home improvement programs. Item 9 is issuing up to $400,000 in ESG funds for Harbor Light Center and Our Savior's Outreach Ministries. Item 10 is the construction management agreement ordinance authored by Councilmember Palansamo. Item number 11 is the Lowry Avenue Northeast assignment of the redeveloper's interest. This is the Clare Housing Project in Northeast Minneapolis, which is going to have a restaurant on the first floor operated by the operators of Green Mill. Item number 12 is an extension of the exclusive development rights for the Penn Broadway mixed-use project. We got an update about that project in committee moving forward. Item 13 is nuisance property grass cutting. I want to know for Councilmember Yang, this is using sentence to serve crews to cut grass when they become nuisance properties. And item 14 is the Met Council's site investigation grant program and their Livable Communities demonstration program. We're accepting grant awards for a number of projects. With that, I will answer questions on items 1 through 14.
All right, questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. We next have Health, Environment, and Community Engagement. With that, Chair, Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. Our committee will be bringing one uncontroversial and straightforward item forward to amend a contract with the Minnesota Department of Health to extend it and to also accept added additional revenue of $60,000 for home visiting services for women and young children.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions. Next, we have Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management. With that, Chair, Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. We have 5 items. The first item is to authorize acceptance of the Minnesota Board of Firefighter Training and Education redistribution funding under the Round 6 Training Reimbursement Program. The second item is to authorize acceptance of the 2014 Emergency Management Performance Grant Award. Third item is to authorize issuance of a new request for proposal for health club memberships, fitness and wellness services, and facility use for the City of Minneapolis Police, Fire, and the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board Police Department. Fourth item is to authorize a contract with the University of Minnesota for Minneapolis Police Department to provide bomb unit and K-9 unit security at football games at TCF Bank Stadium. The fifth item is to accept single bid of uniform unlimited or tasers for an estimated annual expenditure of $130,000 for the Minneapolis PD. And I can answer any questions, but I do want to just make a comment on the fifth item.
Go ahead.
With regards to the taser expenditure here, if folks didn't get a chance in committee, it was explained to us that we currently, as a police department, have 300 tasers, and over the course of the next several years, we're going to be basically replacing the old tasers and putting in new tasers. If a taser gets old, sometimes its response or its efficiency doesn't really work all that well, and so this is what we're doing in terms of these are about 50 new tasers that are going to get into the 300 and replace 50 of those, and eventually we'll replace all of them. But to the extent in which we do need replacement, what has happened is that tasers have a good shelf life of about 5 years. I mean, some of our tasers have gone close to 10 years, and so that's why it's really important that we do have the replacement. And it's I want to make clear to the folks in the community that this is not us trying to arm our police department with more stuff. I mean, it's more so just replacing what we already have.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Yang. I'm not seeing further discussion. And next we have Transportation and Public Works. With that committee's chair, Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Transportation Public Works Committee will be forwarding 8 items. Item 1 is a solid waste collection to expand the authority of Public Works Division of Solid Waste and Recycling to provide cleanup and charge for excessive solid waste at residential properties with more than 4 dwelling units and non-residential properties in the city. Item 2 is a conveyance of land with the University of Minnesota regarding the 8th Street Southeast easement. Item 3 is a joint cooperative agreement with the Bassett Creek Watershed Management Commission. Item 4 is a snow storage agreement of the property with Metro Transit at 834 North 7th Street for snow storage. Item 5 is a special boulevard permit application submitted by the Riverfront Parking Ramp. The following items referred to reports Ways and Means Committee, items 6 and 7 that is. 2014 Northern Lights Express membership fee, and item 7 is accept a low bid of global specialty contractors for Bridge 9 rehabilitation. The following and final item is a report from the adjourned meeting of August 9th and August 27th collectively, and they will be 2 items regarding the Southwest LRT Transit Project, and it's the execution of the memorandum of understanding regarding the Metropolitan Council proposed redesign proportion of the Southwest LRT, and a passage of resolution approving the physical design component of the preliminary design plans of that same project. And that those 2 items will also be joined by 2 staff directions that relate to them. I'll stand for questions on those items.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any comment or questions. Next, we have Ways and Means with that committee's chair, Councilmember. Oh, I apologize. Mayor, you're just not on the speaker management. Our mayor. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. And I did not comment earlier about the items that Transportation and Public Works moved forward regarding municipal consent and those issues, and I'd just like to take a moment now. You know, we as a city have long supported building out our transit network. We have long supported building light rail, and we have long supported Southwest LRT. We supported Southwest LRT under the assumption and the agreement that freight would be removed. And now it is before you, and it is before the city, and it is before us that we are in an unwanted and unfortunate situation we did not anticipate and we did not ask for, which is the prospect of approving this without freight moving out of the corridor. So there's no victory to be claimed here. You know, we sat at the table, we did the negotiation, we came up with the most responsible way forward. And I do believe that that's what we have here. Given the constraints that we faced, we have the most responsible way forward with this action. We certainly have everything written down, which, as I said earlier, is a mistake of the past that we will not repeat in the future, and we do not repeat here. We have agreements about park standards, about physical improvements, about ownership of that land, all of which we would not have had in this agreement and in the memorandum of understanding without having sat down at the table. So I do believe this is the most responsible way forward. There are some questions left to be asked, as those staff directions have asked folks to get back to us on. But today, again, not a victory, but the most responsible way forward, and I appreciate the committee's action, and I appreciate the council's consideration.
All right. Thank you very much. And now we turn to Ways and Means with that committee's chair, Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ways and Means will bring forward 8 items for your consideration on Friday. The first item are a series of legal settlements. Then there's also a approval of a consent and waive any conflict of interest between the city and Dorsey and Whitney in the firm's representation of children's health care for the Minneapolis Sports Facilities Authority and Sienna Systems. The third item will be authorizing Communications Department to donate used audio-video equipment to MTN. Then we have a acceptance of a low bid for $267,000 for waste recycling project at the Minneapolis Convention Center. We have also a records management system request for proposal, authorizing issue RFP for MPD's RMS to replace the outdated current records management system. We have a passage of a resolution accepting gifts from the following organizations for Otto Dahl, our Chief Information Officer, to attend 3 technology conferences. We also have the passage of a resolution accepting the gifts to the City of Minneapolis valued under $15,000. And we have the investment managed services contracts entering into agreements with 5 firms to manage the city's investments. I'm happy to stand for any questions on those 8 items.
Thank you, Councilmember Quincy. I'm not seeing any questions. And finally, we have Zoning and Planning with that committee's chair, Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. We have 2 items today to forward from the Zoning and Planning Committee. The first is regarding 1 to 4 unit residential development, amending the zoning code to create new regulations for the size of these buildings, and it includes a staff direction. And the second item is at 11121 Fillmore Street Northeast to rezone this property from from R1A to R3 to allow for an office to be converted to a third dwelling unit. All 4 of these items, and I have just one quick comment about item number 1. Thank you. So this is Councilmember Palmisano has brought forward these amendments in response to concerns from her constituents about the size of new construction in 1 to 4 unit buildings. And I think her office has done a great job in working with staff at CPED to find a middle ground here that addresses the concerns of residents in a way that has been acceptable to the folks that are building these new units. And I think we saw that at the Planning Commission when this came forward. Only a handful of people came to speak, and all in favor of these changes. This also includes a staff direction brought forward by Councilmember Palmisano, and I know that Councilmember Andrew Johnson has been working on this as well, to direct staff to look at green building deconstruction standards and some incentives that the city could possibly adopt to incentivize people to use green deconstruction standards. And then I wanted to mention, we've heard some concerns from folks. So these new regulations will come forward and take place on October 1st of this year. And it is not the intention of the city to create uncertainty for people who have projects coming forward in September. Staff has received a number of questions about this and has developed some protocols that will address projects that are in the process right now, and the intention is to work with people to make sure that they are able to use the former regulations, if that makes sense, and then also if they're in the middle of their approval process, and to work with folks so that this October 1st start date does not negatively impact projects in September.
All right, thank you very much. I don't see any further comment. With that, I'm just double checking here, but I believe we are concluded with our agenda, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much.